test out the cup holders, you too. Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where today you join me in Palm Beach, Florida with this, the 2023 Nissan GT-R. Now I've spent the last couple of days with this, and I'm going to spend my next couple of days with this car, and I wanted to bring you all along on a bit of a trip to show you what it's like to live with a Nissan GT-R. This car has been pretty much the same since it came out in 2009 when I was just 11 years old, and I kind of love that about it. It gets some slack for being ancient, but I kind of love the old-time rock and roll aspect of this car. So let's get some basics out of the way before we dive into what this video will be about. This is powered by a hand-built twin turbocharged 3.8 liter V6. It makes 565 horsepower and 467 pound-feet of torque. Power sent to all four wheels via a 6-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. And this one is finished in Bayside Blue, an iconic GT-R color. We have black interior. This one actually has like the $4,000 extended leather pack. So we have some nicer materials here, stitching on the dash and whatnot. Otherwise though, this interior is pretty much the same as it's been for the last 15 years. I kind of like that about this car though. Here it is from the back. We have a titanium exhaust. We have 6-piston front Brembo brake calipers, 4-piston rear. We have, of course, adaptive dampers on all 4 corners. This thing weighs just under 4,000 pounds, which, again, when this came out, was considered to be super heavy. But as far as today's standards go, the new BMW M2, hold on. Thank you, FedEx. The new BMW M2 weighs about what this thing weighs, so just to put things into perspective. So today, as I mentioned, I am in Florida, and we're going to take a bit of a trip, a commute, if you will, to Miami from Palm Beach. It's about 70 miles, hour and a half each way, and we're going to see what it's like to live with this R35 Nissan GT-R. How is it from a daily driving perspective? Do you get backache after sitting in it for 3 hours? Well, today we're gonna find out. So let's walk you around this just a little bit before we jump in and hit the road. I'll have my buddy Tori with me today in the passenger seat. He'll be along for the ride, and we'll be able to give some passenger impressions as well. I know, not the same as Emily, but you all will love Tori. And you may remember him from the stunt driving video that I did over on the Topher. So this is the 3.8 liter twin turbo V6, and for some reason we don't have hood struts. And this is just one of the best looking, most honest engine bays still in production. We have no plastic cladding, just a beautiful metal intake manifold here. Actually, this is plastic, I take that back. But underneath that, and they've actually done a really good job faking that, underneath that, just a very honest intake manifold there for our V6. And this one has been hand built by Tsunemi Uyama, one of the 4 Takumi craftsmen responsible for building these GT-R engines. Just a really cool little added touch to these, and he gets his own little plaque there on the front. So thank you, Tsunemi, for doing a fantastic job with this 3.8 liter twin turbo V6. Let's get this shut. I would like some hood struts, I'll be honest. Let's show you around inside, and we'll actually start in the back seat, which I suppose is kind of more of a parcel shelf. You can't really sit back there. As you can see, this passenger seat in Tori's position, I've only got a couple of inches here, and in my position as well. Not really too usable of a back seat, but you can see our little middle section there is a couple of the Bose speakers for our sound system. They're framed nicely, and kind of like old tuner car vibe from that. Kind of neat. Single cup holder there in the back if you manage to shoehorn yourself in there. Maybe a child or something could fit if their legs only go that far. So right off the bat, more of a 2-person commuter car than a 3 or 4. We actually have pretty good trunk room here in this GT-R. It's a small opening, but it goes down pretty dang far. You can see I've only got a sweatshirt in here right now, and we probably won't be taking much with us later, but I could see you fitting 2 suitcases, 2 backpacks in here with no problem. This is a pretty good amount of room. We even have a little strap here to pull on, and that will easily shut the trunk. Another fun fact as we jump into this GT-R, this was the first press car that I ever took home when I started working with TheTopher in 2020. It was a 21 Bayside Blue GT-R just like this, and it's one of his most viewed videos on his channel actually. So this car holds a special place in my heart, and it's really, really special to be back in this car again 3 years later. Lots of clanking and clunking noises when you start the GT-R, but it's always been that way for the last 15 years. Lots of clunky noises from this 6-speed dual clutch, but I love that about it. It's all kind of the raw emotion that you get from this car, all of the little noises it makes and everything like that. Very signature GT-R. In 2017, they updated some things in here. We have Apple CarPlay now on our infotainment, though I think that was added in 2020. Namely, we got this new steering wheel, but that's about it. And we have a selector down here for our infotainment as well. But otherwise, this interior is straight out of 2009, and I absolutely love that. I love all of these cars that are kind of stuck in the past a little bit, and we get to still have them in modern times as new cars with warranties. Our signature GT-R gauges on here, of course. You can toggle through those with our dial down here. And then we have just a regular Nissan infotainment system like you'd have in any other Nissan, but this is really what sets the GT-RS out. I like driving around with this screen on. Physical climate controls, and we have our 3 different settings down here for our engine, drivetrain, our suspension, and our traction control. We can bump our suspension down into comfort mode. We can turn our ESC off with this switch on the far right, or if you hold, you can do all 3 at once. It's hard while the car's in park, but you can hold all 3 up. They'll all turn red like so, and then you are in full race mode. I like to drive around in comfort suspension and the spiciest drivetrain mode, and that is usually how I roll around in this GT-R. So we'll give you some more impressions once we get on the road, but we'll go ahead, get Tori in the passenger seat, and we'll head down to Miami, see what this GT-R is like to daily drive.
Make sure to turn our exhaust on.
Oh, yep. There we go. And comfort suspension, very important. All right, starting today's drive with the windows down should be fine, because in Palm Beach, the fastest you can drive is what, 30? And I didn't notice this until a little bit into driving this car yesterday, but the standard Dunlop tires on this, which come to find out, these are the tires that are supposed to be on this car, are extremely loud. And probably has something to do with the fact that this has almost 11,000 miles on it. These tires have been heat cycled. I know for a fact that this car has been at a track event, so we can blame it a little bit on that, but these are some properly loud tires. So if you are going to be daily driving this, I would recommend maybe swapping these out, saving these for your track days, and going for something a little bit more tame like a Bridgestone Potenza Sport, just for driving around town, around Palm Beach. Minimal corners, but the steering is light when you are at low speeds. There's a very conservative tune on this 6-speed when you are driving in automatic mode. You can see at 27 miles per hour, we're driving in 5th gear. Super easy to put yourself in a manual. Just bump the stick over to the right, and then you have access to your paddles. And when you're in race mode on the drivetrain, you get some pops and burbles from the exhaust as well, which is really nice. The sounds of Palm Beach is just lawn care. There's no birds chirping or anything. It's just lawn care around the clock.
If you can, is that a spot right here next to this car?
No.
Let's make it a spot. I'll just run it.
Okay. One quick stop here on our way to Miami, getting some supplies for a birthday party, apparently. I'm not entirely sure where we're going or what we're doing, but just happy to be driving the GT-R there. Get out of the way, get out of the way. See, having a fast car is practical also, because you can shoot gaps.
Yep. Especially here to avoid all the people trying to hit you.
That's right. Just get away to safety.
Should we stop to get coffee?
Yeah.
Tofington is strawberry acai lemonade refresher, $12.79. We're out of there.
Lots of action and noises and vibrations from this transmission, but or transaxle, I should say. But it just makes everything more visceral. Makes you remember that you're driving a car, which we don't get often nowadays. It's so funny, when this car came out in 2009, I've said that like 10 times now in this video, but when this car came out forever ago, everyone was like, oh, it's like driving a computer on wheels. But now, in 2024, it feels like a proper driver's car.
Bigger screen.
That would go against my point a little bit, I think. I know, it's like driving this car around. I feel like I've just got like a... What's the good analogy here? It's like walking a lion on a leash. Just like wanting to... Ooh, air-cooled Porsche.
Walking a lion on a leash.
Yeah. Right.
Hello, from the Starbucks, how can we get you?
Hello, I have a mobile order for Cloudy.
What was the name?
Cloudy.
Okay, you can support.
Thank you.
Never done that before.
Yeah. Wonder what sort of names they get.
Most people are boring. They just use like the standard name.
That's true, yeah.
Watch those high curbs.
I know. Maneuverability-wise, feels pretty decent. I mean, it is still on the larger side for a sports car, so I do feel like I'm swimming in it a little bit. It's kind of hard to place that front end, but overall, we didn't crash into any curbs in the Starbucks drive-thru, so I would call that a win.
We're not done yet.
Now, hold on. I have to... Most important stop of the trip. Hello. Cloudy. This is when it's awkward having the camera on the face.
Do you want a straw for this one?
Thank you. No, thanks. There's for you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Test out the cup holders, you too. Pretty deep cup holders, actually. That swallows up that grande cup pretty
That
well.
one is, though. See, this one's a little loose.
Okay. Well, I may want to hold it when I'm merging.
Yeah, that's true.
Back into race for the powertrain.
Mind the curbs.
Mind the curbs. Most important stop done. I think a good test for the smoothness of this gearbox is to see if I can go through a couple of gears without you spilling your coffee.
Oh, great.
No spills?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a pass.
Not yet.
Do I want south?
Yep. Also a very well-trained cup holder.
This thing is just, it's so quick. Even through fourth gear, up high, continues to pull very nicely. Let this Hyundai merge in here.
Hop all the way over to the diamond lanes.
Oh yes, we have prepaid for some.
This is just a high occupancy vehicles. Doesn't start
That's right.
until we get further south.
Do they call that the carpool lane in Florida or no?
I always call them the diamond lanes.
The diamond
They got
lanes.
diamonds everywhere.
Oh right. A lot of tram lining from these tires. The car is kind of all over the place on this surface on the highway here. So as spec'd, this GT-R is about $123,000. Base price, 116 grand. And a lot of what you're paying for is the tech. It's the years and years of engineering and money that Nissan has put into this car to just make it the perfect track weapon. And I am genuinely curious to see after today how livable this car is. And if we drop this down back into its regular mode, suspension is in comfort. From a ride standpoint, it softens up pretty nicely, and actually once you're up to highway speeds, you don't notice the tire noise as much. Seat comfort, decent so far. How are you feeling in the seat?
Extremely uncomfortable.
Actually? Not actually. Tight bolsters, but
Yeah.
they're actually very like squishy. The actual material itself, the foam is squishy, so
3 hours, I'll let you know.
okay, yeah. Well, we'll check back in at the end of the trip. I did a good job on this today. Alright, I'm going to put us back into automatic mode, and pretty traditional cruise control switches here. We just have steering wheel operation. Can adjust with this switch here.
Like replacement of the AC vent.
Yeah, these are nice. I like these big chunky vents you can kind of just easily place. So far, we've been averaging 20, but I'm curious to see what this thing will do on the highway. So we'll be able to observe that. After today, we'll update you guys with our MPG. 246 miles of range on just about 3/4 of a tank. 79 degrees outside. I like to just have my digital speedo there below the rev counter. It's got some Willwood brakes on that thing. That's legit.
Everybody in Florida does that.
They don't let
go
you
slow,
pass.
and then when they realize they're going to pass them, they go fast, and then they slow down again.
All right, cool. Well, let's drop this back down into automatic. We're gonna settle into this GT-R, and once we've sat in this for another hour or so, we'll give you some more impressions on it. All right, well, we've spent another hour sat in the Nissan GT-R, and I have minimal complaints. The only thing I will say is that this car has some pretty aggressive blind spots, and I would like to have a blind spot monitor. I think that's something that they probably should have added when they facelifted this car in 2017, but it is what it is. Otherwise, I'm doing okay with the seat. I wish I had a lumbar adjustment here, but honestly, overall, I have sat in much worse for long distance. I suppose I should consult my passenger. Tori, how are you feeling?
I don't know, I just figured out the seat heater was on.
Is your back okay? You're a little older than me, so I feel like I should consult you on that.
I mean, it's not the most comfortable car I've been in, but I'm hanging in there.
It's adequate though, right? Like it's
adequate.
fine. Let's go ahead and check up on our fuel economy, 25.8. Now we have been sitting in some traffic, and otherwise we've been averaging probably around 70 miles per hour. So with a bit of traffic, a bit of normal highway cruising, it's just jumped up actually to 26. And from a living with it perspective, I mean, I could see myself daily driving this car. There isn't really anything I would say that would hold me back. It's easy enough to get in and out of. It's an automatic, so it's easy from that perspective as well. Enough room in the trunk. The Bose sound system is decent enough. It's got Apple CarPlay. It's got everything you need.
4 new tires and you're all set.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Coming up on Miami, you can see that right there. Beautiful skyline. I have to, in the next 2 miles, get over there without crashing through the rubber things, because there's a fine of $165 if you crash through those. I really do think this car would be transformed by a less aggressive set of tires from a daily driving standpoint. All of the adjustments I've been having to make steering wise are just because I'm kind of tramlining everywhere from these, and just being able to turn down the road noise a little bit would be a total game changer. We've of course done the last hour in comfort mode with the dampers, and the ride quality is great. No complaints there. I love adaptive dampers. Just always get the job done. When they're tuned properly, and Nissan has done a great job here with the GT-R. I found sometimes when you drive higher end cars like McLarens, Porsches, things that are flashy in nature, people don't like to let you in. Like even in Michigan, not just being a state to state thing, people hate letting you in. They don't like driving around you, but haven't really found that with this car. It's all just positive attention. People like Godzilla. As far as traffic goes, the dual clutch does a good job taking off, slowing back down. Hello, Mr. Escalade, go ahead. No real shuddery takeoffs. You know, of course it has its moments. It's a little bit inconsistent, but overall it gets the job done properly. Oh, important work to do. Makes pretty good noise. Yeah, one of the better sounding V6s for sure. You can do a turning circle test, actually. That's important. Daily driving, very poor turning circle. Not good. Mind the curves, use our backup camera, get all the way back. There we go. Just a couple of points there to that turn. All right, I'm gonna park up here. We'll give you guys a look at the outside of the car one more time here. It's done a pretty dang good job, and of course it is marketed as a GT car, as a Grand Touring car, and well, we have done Grand Touring and we've done it quite comfortably today. Traffic.
And we're back.
Well, it is the next day. We had a great time in Miami. This car was a champ on the way home, and honestly, everything I said about it in the beginning of the video validates everything that I will be saying about it in the second half here of the video, and that this GT-R is a great Grand Tourer. Of course, at the end of the day, this is a Grand Touring car. We shouldn't be super surprised by any of that, but I didn't know. I thought maybe since this was such a driver-focused car, they kind of would have forgot comfort. But Tori and I were both comfortable at the end of our trip yesterday. The only suggestions I would have would be to add some blind spot monitors and put some different tires on this thing, but otherwise it did a fantastic job. So what we're going to do now is go and give you some performance driving, because you can't have a GT-R video without some zesty launch controls and whatever else. So let's put our gauges to sport or custom views, whatever function mode, and we'll show you what this thing can do. If you guys made it through the first half of the video, through the boring city stuff, this is your treat for the second half of the video. Test out that turning circle one more time. Okay. So we're going to put this into manual. We're going to put up, 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 red, red, red. All of our drive modes in their sportiest setting. And that's really what this car is all about, you know? Bird. It is a wonderful daily driver, as we found out yesterday. And, well, it's quite the performer as well. This thing... absolutely rips. I mean, when Nissan made this car in 2009, they had such a proper formula, it's still relevant today. I've come out to this place in Florida that's like by a dump, and you'll see about 14 million vultures in a second, and luckily you don't have smell-o-vision because it just smells like trash, but it's the perfect place to stretch the legs on the old GT-R. Let's stop and do a launch while we have the chance here. All three modes in red, full brake, full gas. Controls our revs at 4,000. And that's good for 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. Oh, let's try not to hit a bird. Oh God, look at them. This is, of course, a 2023, but for the 24 model year, we are going to have different bumpers, and the Nismo will get a front limited slip. But I think it's nice that they're kind of just carrying this car on, because I think that they've kind of figured out that this is it. After this car, they're not developing anything else like this again. So they've got their sweet spot. They've got this thing so dialed in. It makes so much sense. In 2017, they added the new, more attractive steering wheel. They gave it Apple CarPlay somewhere along the road, and it's just such a good package. And I know you may be concerned about this being a Nissan, and I do understand that. And of course, I was concerned as well before I drove a GT-R for the first time, but they put so much more care into the GT-R. They have an entirely separate team of engineers and everybody to put this car together and make it a serious performer. This interior, nothing shakes, nothing rattles, everything is wrapped in leather. It's a great place to be. And I'm so happy with this car. I really do love this thing, and GT-R is working its way onto my bucket list car list. It's so good. What do we have here? What is that? Aston Martin? We are in stiff mode. Let's no longer be in stiff mode. I will say I do appreciate that they give you a comfort setting for the suspension, because it really is a game changer for daily driving this thing. I love that when you're in the most aggressive mode for the drivetrain, you can feel those gear changes, and it's all part of what makes this car make so much sense to me still in this current market, because everything is just trying to be so smoothed out and glazed over. Like these Teslas here in front of me. Yes, they're very fast, but you don't feel anything ever. It just goes, and I understand that is appealing to some people, but I like to feel the car, and this car gives me the fizz in a way that I haven't felt in quite a while. I've had a great few days with this Nissan GT-R, and I'm thrilled to have been daily driving this and having it as my companion this week. No real complaints. It does great as a daily driver. It does great as a performance driver. It gives me the fizz. It's a fantastic driver's car. No real complaints. If you guys have the means, go have yourself a GT-R, because you won't be able to for a very long time. And also, go and have yourself a new GT-R, because I was just looking at prices yesterday, and 2017s are only like $10,000 less than a brand new one. So these cars hold their value pretty well. So I would just go spec one how you want it, or wait for 24. They've got some cool colors coming in. It's got new bumpers, so that might be kind of neat as well. But yeah, I love this thing, and adding it to the list. It's on the list now, cars that I have to own someday. But that's gonna wrap it up for us today. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I hope you liked hanging out with me and Tori in the first half of the video, and seeing a little bit of performance here in the second half. So that'll wrap it up for us. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.
Gotta stop. Launch mode.